What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to Driven by Purpose. I'm excited for today's episode. This is a continuation of last episode. We talked about really deciding, setting a vision, setting a goal for your life, and we talked about living by the fist, which is faith, family, fitness, finances, and friends. Everything that you go through is going to fit into one of those categories. Absolutely everything. And even those other categories are going to go back to your faith. But the thing with setting a goal and setting a vision and changing is we have to, wait for it, trust the process. Yes, when we make a decision, when we make a goal, we are a people that just want it, boom, right now. It doesn't work like that. It is a process. And that's with all of these categories, right? So if you make the decision that I want to be a millionaire, and then you're checking your bank account, like, where's my money? It doesn't work like that. There is a process, and we have to show up in that process. We have to take the actions every single day to get to where we want to go. And this is something that I have been through this in so many situations and circumstances, and I am fully aware when that is happening because I'm a very patient person, and I want some of these things, right? I want my breakthrough. I want that end goal. I want this waiting period to be over. But I have to lean back on my faith. But even with faith and trusting the process, because God is the God of the process, we have to show up in our faith every single day. We have to lean on our faith every single day. We have to set aside that time to be close to God, to be in His Word, to listen and to be led. Because those desires, those passions, those goals and visions that you're talking about and are within you, those are from God. He will bless them. He will give you favor. He will prepare you in whatever way He knows is perfect to get to where you want to go and what He has put on your heart. And what I mean by that is you will go through things to learn patience. You will go through things to strengthen different parts of your character or your faith or whatever it is to prepare you for the blessing, to prepare you for the breakthrough. There's lots of times, and being a millionaire or having money is a great example of that. If you're not a good steward of what you have right now, you're not going to be a good steward when God gives you more. So He is going to prepare you. He is going to get you through situations to strengthen you and change your character to make you that remarkably and wondrously made person that is ready for that blessing, that is ready for that breakthrough. But you have to trust the process. And yes, it is painful. It is painful to wait. It is painful to learn patience. It is just plain painful. But even in the faith, we got to show up every single day. Be led and understand that God is the God of the process, and He is blessing you and He is changing you into who you need to be prepared for the blessing. So even in family, right, you want to build a legacy. You can't just say, I want my grandkids to be blessed or have generational wealth because of what I do, and you're not doing anything. So that goes back to last episode where you have to decide, you have to create that vision and set your heart on that goal. But you have to show up every single day. You have to take the actions to make that happen. Consistency is key. You have to show up. Same thing with your family. Like if you want a better relationship with your spouse or your partner or your kids or whatever it is, you have to show up. You can't just say, I want to be a better dad and not go to baseball games or not spend time or not go on trips or any of those things. You have to, here's my goal. Here's the steps I'm going to take, and I'm going to show up every single day. And I'm going to do a little progress report. How am I doing? How are things going? Am I on track? What else do I need to do? Because as we're going through the process, things are going to happen. Things are going to change, and you can adjust. You can tweak. You can add more things, whatever it is. But you have to trust the process. And that goes with if there was a hurt, if there is betrayal, and there needs to be reconciliation or restoration, that doesn't just come overnight. You have to show up. You have to forgive. You have to own. If you're the one that made the mistake, you have to own it. And you have to take accountability and know that being forgiven is a process. Getting back to where you were, or even better than where you were, is a process. It's not going to just get swept under the rug and everything's better. You have to show up every single day, knowing, owning, and being accountable to what happened, to what you did. And if you're the one that was hurt, you also have to show up in love, forgiveness, understanding, all of those things as well. Everything is a process. Even in family, we have to show up. We have to trust the process, knowing that this is what I want, this is what I've decided. God will do the work. He will use you to do the work. He will bring you through to the breakthrough, to the betterment, to the better that He has set aside and planned for you. In the fitness category, this one's pretty easy, right? Like, you can't just say I want a six-pack, and while you're eating a quarter ice cream, that was too close to home for me, I think. You can't just eat a quarter ice cream saying I want a six-pack and then get a six-pack. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to trust the process. If you have a coach or a personal trainer or something like that, and they know better, this is a great example of even the relationship with God. You're with somebody who knows better. God knows better. Your personal trainer knows better. In the fitness category, right? You have to trust the process. You have to understand that this person knows something you don't know. And you have to trust that person. You have to show up to the gym. You have to show up in the kitchen to eat the right food. You have to show up. You want this goal. You want this body. You want to be in this shape. You have to show up every single day, every single meal, every single snack, every single craving. You have to show up and make the right choice. You have to show up. You have to be consistent, and you have to trust the process. It takes time to get fit. It takes time to get a six-pack. It takes time. But that process is worth it, and there are changes happening. You are taking steps. You are moving, and you are getting closer to that goal every single day. But you have to trust the process. Finances. Money. Everybody loves money. You know, with finances, if you're investing money, you can't just put money into a stock and then pull it right out. I mean, you can. You're not going to get very far. It's not going to work. It has to be a process. You put the money in, you're working with people, stock goes up, stock goes down. You're, okay, do I sell? Do I buy? Do I do this? Do I do that? It is a process, and you have to trust it. If you're being generous, you have to trust that giving money away is what God is calling us to do, to be generous, to help, to tithe, to give money back to God, because all of the money is His anyway. He's the one that gave it to us. So we get to give it back to Him. We get to understand that I am blessed with this money because of Him. I want to give it back. We have to trust that process. Now, this process is not about I'm going to give money so I can get money. We have to be a good steward of what we have. And this goes far beyond just finances, but it is a super clear example of this. If you have a little and you're not a good steward of that little, you're not going to have a lot. God's not going to give you $1 billion when you can't do the right thing with 1,000. If you're not saving, if you're not spending wisely and being generous with what you do have, God's not going to trust you with more. And that's where you have to lean on faith. Whether you're investing, tithing, being generous, giving money away, God, I'm trusting you that you're calling me to do this, that you're asking me to do this, that I am being a good steward, not to get something in return, but to grow my faith, to draw closer to you and to help others, because I want to help others. I want to be somebody who blesses other people. So Lord, help me to be a good steward with my money. And when you're a good steward, you will get more. That is the process. Trust the process. Friends is the next category. And friends, is pretty similar to family. But in friends, you have to trust the process of how close you are with these friends. Are you sharing feelings? Are they there through thick and thin? Are they your ride or die? Trusting that and building those foundations with those people. But friends is also a process to either strengthen that relationship, or those relationships start to dwindle away. What we have to understand is God is preparing you for a reason. God is preparing you for a purpose. God is also preparing that person for their own purpose. And your purposes may not be intertwined. Not everybody that's in your life can go where God is taking you. Not everybody in your life is meant to stay. You have to trust that process, even though it's painful to lose people you love, to lose people you love hanging out with, or that are your best friend or close, whatever that looks like for you. You have to trust that process, because sometimes, we lose things in life, people, whatever it might be, so that God can create space for more, so that we can be good stewards and move into that promised land, if you will, to that breakthrough. We have to trust the process. And when somebody leaves or dwindles away, fades into the black, fades into the background, God will bring somebody who's supposed to be in your life that is going to go further with you. He will replace, and it will be much more than you could ever imagine a friend to be. You have to trust the process. Again, this relies on your faith. You have to trust that God is the God of the process. And in all of these situations, all of these areas, we have to trust the process. And I just wanted to touch on these things as I close this out. Your 41 is coming. And what I mean by that, and this is something that I grab a hold of, especially now because I'm 40. This is something that speaks directly to my heart. Your 41 is coming. Now, I'm not saying an age. I'm not saying that you have to wait 40 years and on 41, that's your breakthrough. I'm not saying that. God is working the process, and it works differently in every single life situation and circumstance. But in the Bible, there's a cool correlation between the number 40. And there's so many examples of God working the process. And the first one is, with Noah. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And on the 41st day, it stopped raining. Your 41 is coming. Your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is coming. Moses, he committed murder and he hid in the desert for 40 years. And on the 41st year, he came out and he led the people out of Egypt. Your 41 is coming, but you have to trust the process. In the Old Testament, Moses went up on the mountain for 40 days. On the 41st day, he received the 10 commandments. He came down. Your 41 is coming. This one is an example that I really relate to. And yes, this is in regards to my age and all of the things that I've been through. The Israelites in the Bible, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. And on the 41st year, they finally entered the promised land. I have felt like I have wandered in the desert for 40 years. I have done a lot of things chasing and grasping after my purpose that I have felt lost, going in circles, wandering around, if you will. Your 41 is coming, but you have to trust the process. Whether it's 40 minutes, 40 days, 40 years, God is the God of the process. David and Goliath, huge story. Everybody knows about David and Goliath. Goliath taunted Israel for 40 days, and then on the 41st day is when David got his old slingshot out and took him down. 41 is coming. Your victory is coming. Jonah is another example. Jonah preached a message of repentance for 40 days in a city called Nineveh. You can look that up if you want to. And on the 41st day, they were saved. That day is coming for you, but you have to trust the process. Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness. The devil was tempting him, and on the day 41, the devil fled. Your breakthrough is coming. The enemy will leave you alone. It is coming. God has been preparing you. He has been strengthening you. He has been doing a work in your life. And if you look back, you can see all of the times. You can see the many breakthroughs, the many times, if you will, that God showed up to keep going, to get you through the process, to get you to the other side. You know, Jesus came back after his resurrection for 40 days, and on the 41st day is when he went back to heaven. Your 41 is coming, but you have to trust the process. This whole thing requires work. It requires faith in every situation. You have to show up. You have to know that goal, know that vision, and know the actions it's going to take to make it happen. You have to do the work, but you have to show up every single day and remind yourself that God is the God of the process. Your 41 is coming. Your breakthrough is coming. Your victory is coming. And I am so excited to hear when it does. I love you guys so much. If you got something out of this video, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I love you, and we will see you next time on Driven by Purpose.